Karens often believe they're above facing repercussions, but what unfolds when these same self-important Karens end up in handcuffs? Here are 3 of the most jaw-dropping and gratifying moments where ruthless Karens come to terms with their arrest, starting with Sarah Boone, who was charged with the murder of her husband Jorge by trapping him inside a suitcase and abandoning him to perish. Sarah was promptly taken in for questioning to uncover whether she was truly as wicked as suspected.
So he had some injuries to his left shoulder. He had a cut near his lip. You could see his mouth was a little
I haven't laid a hand on him.
Okay. What about the scratches? Because there's also sex.
Yes.
Okay. Because there's also a scratch on the back of his neck, kind of going, but it's going straight across.
I have no idea what I'm talking about. In all honesty, we have not gotten into it. Okay. That's why, the only thing I thought you guys were going to ask me about, which I was going to be honest with you anyway, are the scratch marks on his back. Mm-hmm. Everything else, I have no idea what it is.
Yesterday, when we took photographs of your overall body, and they did the buccal swabs, did they go under your fingernails?
No.
Okay. Are you willing to let us
absolutely
swab underneath your fingernails? Go for it.
It might seem like a strange request to ask if they can collect samples from under Sarah's fingernails, but it could play a major role in figuring out how Jorge sustained those wounds. Since the injuries were recent, there's a high chance that forensic experts could discover traces of dried blood or skin cells beneath Sarah's nails, evidence that would clearly implicate her. But sadly for Sarah, investigators already had other proof that was far easier to uncover.
Do I have to watch this? I continuously throw up, I don't sleep, I don't want to see it, if that's okay.
Well, it's on your phone, and you can either explain it, or we take it for what it is.
We're just trying to give you the opportunity to tell us what's going on. That's it.
For everything you've done to me. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's you. Your voice. Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it up.
I don't want to watch it, please.
The footage captured Jorge trapped inside the suitcase, pleading to be released while Sarah mocked him from the outside. Authorities couldn't have hoped for a more damning piece of proof, especially since it was found directly on Sarah's own cell phone.
So this is upside down. So in order for him to have gotten into it,
it was flipped up.
Right. It was flipped up normal.
Yes.
As if you're packing something. So this is upside down.
Guys, this is killing me right now.
Sarah is clearly attempting to appear innocent by telling the investigators that the video upsets her, but does that honestly sound like someone watching footage of her husband's final moments? While everyone processes trauma differently, it's hard to believe her response is a single flat statement that feels more like it was said just to display a hint of sympathy to the officers.
I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but it's like you guys are kind of trying to feed me.
No, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
Well, I know what.
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
No.
Why don't you remember making the video?
Probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
Sarah is frantically attempting to justify the video, but in the process, she basically confirms it's her footage and that she abandoned him in the suitcase afterward. Considering Jorge died due to her disregard, this easily qualifies as a manslaughter charge. However, she's certainly failing to persuade the investigators that this was anything other than intentional.
What do you think is going to happen if you leave somebody in a confined space like that?
Well, I thought by not picking it up all the way, it would be okay. My plan was not to leave him in the suitcase. Waiting for him to come upstairs.
And then what do you do?
I fell asleep.
You said you were up there 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, somebody not coming up.
Knowing that the last time you saw him was in the suitcase, 30 minutes later, you're like, maybe I should go check on him? Maybe I shouldn't?
No.
But that didn't cross your mind.
That's like an assumption. That's what you all are thinking. It's the drinking.
Sarah spends nearly 2 full hours frantically attempting to sway the detectives and talk her way out of the incriminating proof they've presented, but in the end, the investigators stay entirely unmoved and conclude that they've heard all they need.
Do you promise and swear that everything we talked about today has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, but it was not intentional.
Okay. Okay.
All right, do me a favor, stand up,
Why is this happening?
because George is dead.
Not intentionally.
We understand that.
He's still dead.
Well, we don't
Someone
really
needs to
understand.
call Brian, please.
Okay.
Or can I not make a phone call?
You'll be able to make a phone call, and we'll get you down to the jail.
So why is this
Afforded.
happening? So this was a trick.
No, it's not
No,
a trick.
not
How
a
was it a
trick.
trick? Your response to everything was, basically, I didn't do it.
Intentionally.
Doesn't matter. It's still dead.
Sarah was indicted for second-degree murder and is now staring down a possible life sentence. At the time this video was posted, her trial is still underway. But that's nothing compared to what officers had to deal with in the case of Sean Malarkey, a 45-year-old woman taken into custody for domestic abuse after she reportedly struck her ex-husband with a vehicle. However, when the officer moves in to make the arrest, things take a turn for the worse instantly.
Ma'am, step out.
Excuse me.
Step out.
No, excuse me.
Step out.
Sure, hands off of me.
Step out of the car right now. You're under arrest.
No, I am not.
Yes, you are.
No, I am not.
Malarkey's actions are unpredictable, and her tone is hostile right from the start. Her kids are sitting in the back seat, but this doesn't appear to influence how she deals with the situation, and it only continues to escalate from
I
there.
will tase you if you don't get out of the car.
You better take your hands off of me right now.
I told you you're under arrest. Get out of the car.
Why?
Because you have a warrant.
I just sent a message and I am... Excuse me.
Get out of the car right now.
No. Did somebody say that you could come into our...
Questioning the officers about who authorized them to come onto the property is a frequent strategy in cases like this, but for the accused, the truth is that law enforcement is fully entitled to enter a property without an invitation as long as they possess a warrant. With help from a second officer, Malarkey is taken out of her vehicle and restrained. However, this is when the situation deteriorates even further.
No, I didn't say that.
Andy asked you to get out.
Excuse me?
Andy asked you to get out of the car.
No, Andy yanked me.
I yanked you because I told you you're under arrest and you refused to exit your vehicle.
Are you gonna stand up and be cooperative?
Are you gonna understand that my attorney has filed a motion to quash this? Has filed a
We're going out here
motion
this way.
to quash this.
You hit us, you do anything stupid towards us, we're any charge on. If you hit us,
Excuse
or
me?
anything, let's go.
You've already hit me.
I didn't hit you. I asked you out of the car. I told you you're under arrest. Now you got a whole show for your neighbors here.
Even while handcuffed, Malarkey's demeanor remains completely unchanged. The officer then detects the scent of alcohol on her breath, which could account for some of the strange conduct.
You are a shitty f***ing human being. You throw somebody down in front of their children? What the f*** is wrong with
Sit
you?
down. I told you.
You piece of shit. You know what? You are the piece of dirt that I wouldn't piss on if you were on fire.
I smell
You
an
are
odor of alcohol on your breath.
No, that's my
That's your.
I'm pissing on you.
She disobeys the officer's commands and attempts to exit the car, then deliberately targets the officer who carried out the arrest.
Phone on?
Get your f***ing hands off me.
We frequently witness scenarios like this where a suspect singles out one law enforcement officer and uses them as a scapegoat. This is usually accompanied by legal threats, as they tend to focus on the officer they believe they can most effectively build a case against. However, this strategy rarely proves very successful.
Get your f***ing hands off me.
Cool out. If you keep resisting,
Get your
charge you with that. If
You
you
know what? I'm gonna charge you with putting your f***ing dirty ass hands on me.
stop moving, let him take off your watch.
Malarkey proceeds to issue violent threats toward the officers. Notice how swiftly she attempts to shift the topic right after making her most severe threat.
No, do you know what he's done?
Stop kicking us.
I'm gonna kick you right in the f***ing head.
That's mean. Don't do that.
You are dead.
What's that?
You are getting sued.
No, what'd you say before that?
Face is
You
getting
said I am dead? What do you mean by that?
You are
Elaborate on it if you mean it.
you're getting sued.
She keeps making things hard for the officers by pretending to struggle getting out of the vehicle, even though her movements show she isn't genuinely trying. She blames the ankle restraints and claims it's the officer's fault because she supposedly tried to kick him.
No, it hurts too much. You could just take it off.
No, you're gonna kick it.
No, what am I? I'm a fucking 100 pounds. You think I'm gonna take a 200-pound dude?
You've already kicked at us a lot of times.
Why?
You're not gonna win.
Why? Why? Because that guy right there
Let's go.
Why? Could you ask yourself a question? Why?
She faced charges of aggravated assault on an officer and aggravated DUI, this being her third DUI with a child in the car. Shortly after the arrest, she was also charged with child endangerment and bail bond violation, along with a misdemeanor for resisting or obstructing law enforcement. Suspect in our next story wasn't so fortunate. This individual's public outburst occurs on a plane preparing for takeoff. Before this footage, she had already been asked to leave multiple times because she refused to wear a mask during the pandemic.
Hello.
We're gonna take you off the aircraft.
Yep, you're gonna have to get off the aircraft,
Yeah,
okay?
and you're out there,
Yep.
and I compliment you in that way.
If she's a representative of the aircraft, they don't want you flying on their plane today, okay? So you're gonna have to get off
After
the
they
aircraft.
made us wait and wait and wait.
Yeah, that's the way it is, but right now I'm gonna
And
need
that's
you...
fine, and I will respect that.
Okay, so I'm gonna need you to grab your bag and just
And I
step
did
off
not
the
do
aircraft.
anything, actually. Disrespect.
We'll talk about it outside.
Disruptive, besides speak my mind.
Okay.
And you know what? I live in America, and that's what fucking America's about.
calm down.
No, you know
Listen
that.
to me. Grab your bag.
You know.
She's instructed to collect her bag and exit, but she responds with something genuinely odd. The suspect displays numerous unusual behaviors and appears to undergo intense mood swings. Notice how her facial expression abruptly shifts and how she rapidly goes through a broad spectrum of emotions during the interaction.
No one's gonna put their hands on you.
All right, you
Grab your
won't.
bag and
Yeah,
step off
you
the-
won't.
Okay, but I need you to get up.
No. You
Okay?
need me to get up? You may need me to get up, but you know what I feel my need to do as a person? Just like Jesus motherfucking Christ.
You need to calm down.
No, I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna say what I need to do. And if you're gonna do whatever you feel you need to do to me, right? So I'm gonna say what I am meant to say. No, to everybody.
Stand up, man.
Everybody is
You're
doing
gonna
this.
get arrested if you do not
I'm
stop.
already gonna get arrested.
You're gonna...
The officers caution the suspect that if she refuses to comply, they'll be forced to physically intervene. Her reaction is over the top, and she clings to an alleged assurance from one of the officers that she wouldn't be taken into custody if she left the plane.
Here's what's happening. They're gonna deplane the aircraft. I'm gonna take you off the
That was
plane.
already happening. Don't do
And you're going to jail.
It won't happen if you get up and walk out with me right now.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to,
Yep. That's how it's gonna work.
Do you see how that's a threatening system?
That's the way it is, man.
Not cool.
Are you
I want
gonna-
to trust you. You want to trust me. That's not healing. We're not healing.
The suspect is escorted off the aircraft and taken into custody. Her response is juvenile. She weeps in an unpersuasive manner and appears to believe the situation has infringed on her human rights. Pay attention to how she explains her behavior. The way she perceives her actions is very different from reality. Still, it's unclear whether she's intentionally being dishonest or if something deeper is at play.
Okay. Come with me.
The suspect repeatedly alternates between portraying herself as a victim and expressing rage toward the officers. She appears to believe she's been personally mistreated and that one of the officers deceived her to gain her cooperation. She then accuses this officer of not wearing a mask himself.
How is anyone gonna stop anything when you lie to them?
You have your chance, man.
I had my chance. You didn't need to give me a chance. I looked at you in your eyes,
asked you
and
10
I
times.
knew you were lying to me. I saw you outside before I even came in with your mask off.
Yet again, we witness a situation where the individual being taken into custody chooses to target one specific officer as the scapegoat for everything. The suspect declines to follow instructions from that particular officer but claims they're willing to cooperate with other law enforcement personnel.
All right. Ready to step out? Are you gonna comply with everybody?
With you two, yes. Not with you, because you're a liar.
Near the conclusion of the arrest, she repeatedly makes comments that appear completely random, including a claim that a nurse present to assess her is romantically interested in the officer she has a problem with.
here, let me get your temperature at least.
Oh, you think he's cute? Oh, yeah, I thought he was cute, too. I looked in his eyeballs, and I thought he looked into my eyeballs, and then he abused that.
Her erratic mood and illogical responses persist all the way to the end of the footage, where she claims that her inability to relax is the fault of the police. It seems probable that there may be underlying mental health concerns involved, though without an expert evaluation, it's difficult to determine definitively.
I opened the towel, I picked up the towel and dropped it because I don't know what the f it is, man.
Look like there's a bucket in the towel.
This is when police realized there was a head inside the bucket at the crime scene, but they had no idea the case would only become more and more terrifying. On February 23, 2023, officers showed up at the home of a suspected murderer, Taylor Schabusiness. That's where they would soon discover she wasn't just mentally disturbed, but a full-blown psychopath.
Hey, is this blood? Does this look like blood to you? Or am I just tripping? Could possibly be blood. Hey, who did that? Hi, Taylor, how's it going? Officer Russell with the Green Bay Police Department. Taylor, you have a warrant for your arrest. Just put your hand back with it. You got it.
The officers were inspecting Taylor's residence on a warrant and came across bloody footprints beside her vehicle and blood quite literally on her hands. But once they searched her apartment, they uncovered the exact thing they were originally dispatched to locate, a severed human head in a bucket, first spotted by the victim's own mother. Authorities wasted no time placing her under arrest, where one of the most bone-chilling interrogations ever recorded would soon begin.
I hate this fucking outfit.
Well, a few hours ago, the police were dispatched to address on Stony Brook at parents' house, Shad. Here again? You know Shad? And how do you know Shad?
He's my ex.
He's your ex. Wait a minute. Well, they found a kind of disturbing stuff at the house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of blood. Basically Shad's head.
It's instantly clear how emotionless and detached Taylor is acting. She's displaying zero feeling about anything, even the most gruesome aspects of the case, only managing to mumble, that's _ up when referring to the decapitated head. Frequently, psychopaths enjoy boasting about their own crimes, as it gives them a sense of satisfaction, but we've only scratched the surface of just how deranged she truly is.
Where's the rest of his body?
It's there, inside the house.
It is in the house? Can you tell me what happened?
It's a good question, because I blacked out during that time.
Were you two being intimate, having sex?
It was getting there.
Just getting there, okay. So will this be considered foreplay?
Yeah.
You guys done something like this in the past? Do you use manual strangulation during sex at all?
A manual strangulation, yes.
Taylor alleges that she and Shad were being intimate that night and that she had used a dog chain to strangle him, though apparently, this wasn't out of the ordinary for them. However, that night she simply didn't stop until he was nearly lifeless. She also states that she had been using meth that evening, something that most likely played a role in the terrifying events that took place afterward.
Body there.
So we're gonna take the head soon? You liked it? So you dismembered the body too?
Yeah.
Well, what did you do with the body? Someone?
They're like,
Basement, upstairs, downstairs?
in the basement. I was gonna bring them. And then, I know I forgot the head. I wanted the head.
Did you bring anything with you?
Yeah, it was in the van.
What?
In the van.
It turns out that Taylor had not only strangled and decapitated Shad but also mutilated several parts of his body and scattered them around the apartment. Just the idea alone is disturbing, but the manner in which it happened is an entirely different nightmare.
How did you dismember his body? With what?
Knives.
Knives? More than one knife? Where did you get those?
Kitchen.
They weren't sharp?
No. It was alright. Bread knife was good.
Bread knife?
A bread knife was good.
Really?
I used so I got lazy last night, so.
After Shad was dead, Taylor used a dull bread knife to saw off his limbs and tossed each separate part of his body into a black bag that officers later discovered in the basement. But somehow, the most disturbing part of all this is how nonchalantly she's speaking about it, as if she doesn't recognize anything wrong with her actions. Psychopathic killers often take satisfaction in their crimes and relish the attention it brings them. Ted Bundy, for instance, was always eager to talk to the media, likely for the same reason Taylor is now laughing about her actions: narcissism. Taylor claims this was an accident, but the twisted pleasure she shows while recounting every small detail to the detective suggests that, while it may not have been premeditated, she clearly had no remorse for what she did. Over the next 5 minutes, Taylor explains how she cuddled with his corpse after the murder and how she used parts of his mutilated body, specifically his genitals. We return to the interrogation as she continues to plainly recount the horrifying events of that night.
You do anything particular with the head or the body? What would you do with the blood wrapping up the front?
It's still on there, it's still in the toilet. There's a shower in the basement.
What are you doing?
Well, I drained his head. Well, like, after I saw his blood, I was in the bucket, and there's still blood in this bucket because it's coming out of the head. Should have took the brains out, but I didn't. And then I just...
So you cleaned his head in the shower and dumped the bucket?
Not only is Taylor at ease with dismembering and decapitating her former partner, but it also appears she was comfortable with draining and cleaning his head, and possibly even extracting his brain. It's uncertain why she felt the urge to do this at that moment, as the pieces simply aren't fitting together. She had already thrown away and concealed the rest of the body, so if she was trying to cover it up, logically she would have gotten rid of the head as well. There's something far more complex going on here, and the investigator is eager to uncover what it is.
So when he put the chain on his neck, he thought that you guys were going to have kinky sex. Do you think that's what Chad was thinking, Nina? What were you thinking?
I was going to do the same thing. You know, I was going in, and I did. And I went in. But then he was like, choke me. But he didn't really say it, so I'm like, put it on his neck. I already know I'm going to choke him. And I did.
But before the chain went around his neck, were you and Chad like kissing or any foreplay or anything?
No, we were chilling.
You just chilling. So all of a sudden the chain went around his neck?
Yeah.
How come? I'm just trying to get it.
He likes it.
Alright.
I was gonna walk him like a dog.
And he wanted that?
I have no idea. What I was gonna do it anyway.
And you're claiming it was his idea?
No, it was his idea. It was all him.
Alright, so you're on the bed, the chain goes around his neck and you start choking him. And you just realized that he was gonna die or what?
I'm just like, shit. I think I went a little too far because like I was blacking out while I was doing it, right? And then and then like I look at him, I'm like, shit, he's already purple. I'm like, fuck, I'm like, I don't know if he's fucking. Is he good? Is he good? But then when I grew up, like, you know, like during the blackout, I'm like, shit. I didn't mean for all this to happen, and then like I fucked up. I know I fucked up. Shit. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what happened.
This is the closest Taylor has come to showing regret during the entire interrogation, but it's so deeply contradicted by everything else she said that it's hard to believe she's being sincere. It's likely she's only saying this because she realizes that expressing some remorse might help her case and lead to a reduced sentence. In fact, throughout the entire questioning, it appears she's been trying to do exactly that. According to Taylor, she returned home with Shad and almost instantly grabbed the chain and began strangling him. Then, she claims she suddenly blacked out, saw him dead before her, and even though she says she didn't want him to die, she didn't call for help. Instead, she cut him up, interacted with his remains, and then laughed about it with officers. These don't seem like the behaviors of someone innocent, and the investigators don't believe they are either. The case was brought to court almost right away, where Taylor would continue to reveal just how unhinged she truly is. Watch her behavior as Shad's closest friend gives testimony in front of the judge.
When I got there, we were just chilling, chopping it up, like how we always do. And basically, I was like, Taylor was asking like, do you wanna hang out with Shad? She was asking me like for consent to hang out with Shad like to bring him home. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's cool.
This conduct persisted throughout the entire trial, as she grinned, sneered, and chuckled her way through it all. However, it appears this didn't leave the jury with a favorable view of her, as she would soon realize when the verdict was delivered.
Okay. First verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Shabiznis, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information, dated this date, July 26, 2023, signed by the foreperson.
Taylor Shabiznis was found guilty of first-degree homicide, corpse mutilation, and sexual abuse. As of the time this video is being posted, she is awaiting her sentencing but is facing either life behind bars or possibly the death penalty.